Hey friends. So today we're going to start our new topic. We're going to start topic 11, and it's going to be a lot about subtracting those big numbers. So of course I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to start with our solve and share for today. And today our solve and share says, Joe's pumpkin patch sells straw men. A large straw man costs $134. A medium straw man costs $10 less than a large straw man. A small straw man costs $100 less than a large straw man. What is the cost of a medium straw man and a small straw man? So the first thing I'm going to do, and like I tell y'all, you have to figure out the important parts of that word problem, right? So Joe's pumpkin patch sells a large. So we know the value of a large, right? Which is 134. So I'm going to put L for large, and I'm just going to put 134. Okay. A medium cost $10 less, keyword less, right? So I'm going to put M, and I'm going to put that it is less than a large. Okay. So it's, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm getting tongue tied. So if it's less than a large, so that means, it's the large is 134. And it's how much less? It is $10 less. Oopsies. 134 minus 10. Okay. And then a small straw man costs $100 less than a large straw man, right? So I'm going to put small, S for small. And they said it's $100 less than the large, right? And we know the value is 134. And that it's going to be 100 less, right? So I'm going to put 134 minus 100. Now remember, the reason for medium I put 134 minus 10 is because it says that the medium straw man is $10 less than the large straw man, which we do have the value, which is 134. And I did the same thing here, kind of the same thing. I did 134 minus 100 for the small straw man because it says a small straw man costs $100 less than the large straw man, which is 134. So now that I have my equations put up and I have read through my word problem, of course, they're asking us what is the cost of a straw man and smaller. So we have to figure out this value and this value. So I'm going to go ahead and solve it. So I'm going to change my colors here. I'm going to put this off in the corner because that's my special box of equations. And I'm going to solve for the medium straw man first. So I think I'm going to do my base 10 blocks because it says use dollar bills, place value blocks, or mental math to solve. Be ready to explain how you solve the problem. So the first thing I'm going to do place value blocks just because you guys know Miss Ortiz loves her place value blocks. So I'm going to do my HDO chart. And then I'm going to split it down and split it down. Of course, guys, remember, I am not an artist. So then I'm going to draw my numbers 134 because that's the big number. Okay, with subtraction, you're going to put the big number into your chart. Okay, so I have 100, 3 tens, 1, 2, 3, and 4 ones. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, so we have to subtract 10, right? So you can do this different ways. In my head, I know what to do, but it's fine. So the first thing I'm going to do is, do I have enough ones to subtract 10? No. So I can cross it out and trade it for 10 more. So you're doing the opposite of what you would do in addition. So I cross out a 10 because I don't have enough ones, right? So I'm going to draw 10 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now I can start blah, blah, blah. I can cross out 10 ones, okay? Uh-oh. Okay, so let me go and start crossing out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that leaves me with 4 ones, 2 tens, and 100. Now, some of you guys might have noticed something very special. And the reason that they had you guys probably do this solve and share is because the lesson is really about subtracting the number 10 and subtracting the number 100. Did I really have to cross out a 10 and trade it for 10 ones? Did I really have to do that? No, because we were subtracting 10. The number 10 is equal to 110, right? One of these has 10 ones, right? So if I cross one out, that is the same thing as subtracting 10 ones. So why do all this work when I can just cross out a 10? Okay, so just so you have a visual, right? Let me show you what I mean. So if this works, oh, there we go. There it goes. Awesome. So just so you have a visual so you can understand what I mean, I'm hoping some of you guys noticed what I just explained, but just so you have a visual. So let me put my number back, 134. Good. So the number 10 is the value, is the same thing as, oops, there we go. The number 10, right? It is the same thing as 10 ones, but it's also the same thing as 110. So why would I cross out a 10 and trade it for 10 ones if I'm just gonna get the same answer if I just crossed out a 10? Because that's the same thing, subtracting 10. 4, 2, 1. It would still be 124. If I did the same thing of crossing it out and trading it for 10 ones, I'd still get the same answer. So that's just what I'm trying to explain to you guys. But let's move on because I'm spending too much time on this, aren't I? All right, so the answer to the medium straw man is 124. Give yourself a pat on the back if you got that answer. If you're still confused, don't worry. Today's lesson is focused on subtracting 10 and 100, okay? It just kind of makes your life easier. It just requires you to think a little more, but it's actually pretty easy, and I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna be able to get it. All right, so I'm gonna keep my same number because now we're solving for the small straw man, 134. I'm gonna keep that same number. So it's the same concept, okay? It's asking me to take away 100. Do I have to do any regrouping? Do I have enough 100s to take away 100? 100 is the same as 100, right? If I had 200, it would be 2 blocks, right? So the only thing I have to do here, guys, if it's telling me to subtract 100, I'm gonna just cross it out. And guess what? Now I don't have hundreds. Now my new number is, let's see, I have 4 ones and 3 tens, 34. Because I have no hundreds because I subtracted 100, okay? Now, let's, for example, let's say that I had 200, you know what, let me not complicate it. That's how you do it, okay? They're asking you to take away 100, okay? And I had enough. If you did not have enough hundreds to subtract, then that's when you do the cross it out and trade it for 10 100s. But that's gonna get complicated because that's when we get into the thousands. So don't worry about that. Just know when they're asking you subtract 100, literally cross it out. And your new answer is just 34 because you have no hundreds here, right? Okay, so the size of the small straw man is just 34, okay? Good. If you have any questions about the solve and share, guys, just send me a quick message on Class Dojo. But at the end of this lesson, you should understand it more because this is what we're going to be learning about today. All right, so let's get her started. Let's go ahead and move on to the visual learning for today.
Minus 10 by 328 minus 100. Value blocks help you understand the number 328.
So, how do place value blocks help us understand the number 328? Well, it's simple. The place value blocks show the value of each number in this number, right? There's 300s, 2 10s, and 8 1s, right? 3 hundreds, 2 10s, and 8 1s.
Show the value of each digit in a number. Place value can help you subtract mentally. 328 minus 10. There are 2 10s in 328. 2 10s minus 1 10 equals 1 10. So 328 minus 10 equals 318. 328 minus 100. There are 3 hundreds in 328. 3 hundreds minus 100 equals 200. So 328 minus 100 equals 228.
You guys see the same thing that we kind of did in the solve and share? 328 minus 100 is 228. Why? Because when you subtracting just 100, there is nothing in the tens place, just a 0. There's nothing in the ones place but a 0. But there is a 1 in the hundreds place. 100 is the same as 100 block. So you just cross that out. Obviously, you have 2 left. Nothing has changed in your tens and ones. Okay? So I hope that makes some sense, because if this number here were 200, right? And that means you would cross out 200 spots. So then you'd have 128. Okay? It's very simple and straightforward. Don't overthink it. Okay?
3 minus 1 equals 2. So 328 minus 100 equals 228. 10 changes the tens and hundreds digits. 500 minus 10.
All right. So sometimes subtracting 10 changes the tens and hundreds. So this is something that all year, I'm so glad that this lesson is going to explain it. So a lot of times when we're subtracting 10 from certain numbers, both the hundreds place and the tens place is going to change. Let me explain, or let this explain. You guys will see what I mean. And we'll do an example.
500 equals 50 tens. 50 tens minus 110 equals 49 tens, or 490. So 500 minus 10 equals 490. When a 10 is subtracted from 500.
Okay, so something to keep in mind, we know that 500 is the same as 50 tens. Okay, so then they've kind of just changed the numbers up. So then you have 50 tens minus 110. Okay, think about it. It's kind of like 50 minus 1, 49 tens. But remember, we're working with hundreds here. So it's actually not 49 tens, but 49 tens is the same as 490. So 500 minus 10 is 490. Just in your head, remember, when you see a number like 500 or 400 or 300, think of it like this. 500 is 50 tens. It's like 50 tens. 400, 40 tens. 300, 30 tens. Okay? So if I did 300 minus 10, oh, that's easy. I'm just going to do 30 minus 110, which will get you to 29 tens or 490. Don't worry about it. We're going to do an example together, but this is kind of like what they're trying to explain to you, okay? So just remember, 500 tens is the same as 50 tens, 400 tens, 40 tens, 300, 330 tens. Oh, there we go.
The hundreds digit changes from 5 to 4, and the tens digit changes from 0 to 9. Subtract 10 and 100 from 3-digit numbers.
All right, so that was a mouthful, but let's just remember, okay, that important. Let me stop it right here, okay? 550 tens. This is that special thing we need to remember. So let's go ahead and do an example together. So the first one is really easy. We just have 428 minus 100, okay? I could easily do this in my head because I know that 400 minus 100 is just 300, so it's 328. But just so you have a visual, you should be able to do this in your head. Notice that in this number, this is not going to change, okay? This is not going to change. And I can prove it when I do, let me get my pen. Review, start inking, there we go. All right, so I'm going to draw my HTO chart just so you guys can see what I mean, that your tens and ones in this case will not change. And a lot of the time it won't, but there will be instances where it changes. So the good thing about subtracting 100 and 10 is a lot of times you can do it in your head. So you can kind of picture the HTO chart in your head. If you're not comfortable doing it in your head yet, practice this, but eventually you do want to start doing it in your head. So just so you guys have a visual of what exactly they're explaining, I'm going to draw the number 428. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 400s, right? Now I'll just draw my 2 10s, 1 and 2, and my 8 ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. We're subtracting 100, just 100. Do I have enough hundreds to subtract 100? I do. So guess what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna cross out 100. That's it. I don't have any tens to subtract. I don't have any ones to subtract. I don't need to regroup because I have enough hundreds, right? You can do this in your head because just by looking at this number, if I blocked out this part of 428 and this, I'm like, oh, 4, 3, okay, 3, and then just add the 2 and then the 8 because it didn't change, okay? So the new number is, of course, 328. I want you to realize this, guys. Realize that. I want you to notice, let me get my pen back, that the tens place and the ones place in 428 did not change. The only place value that changed is the hundreds place, okay? The only place value that changed is the hundreds place. That's why I tell you, you can do this in your head. Just like, oh, 428 minus 100. Oh, that's just 328 because only the hundreds place changes in this case. But let's do our second problem because that's where it gets funky. So sometimes you'll get problems like this where your hundreds and your tens place is going to change. And a lot of times that happens when we're subtracting 10 from a number like 400, 500, 600, 700. Those type of numbers, you're going to have to, your tens and, your hundreds and tens are going to change. So just to give you a visual, kind of like what I was explaining, if I get my pen, where's my pen? There we go. So 400, right? 400 is the same as what? I'll give you a hint. 400 is the same as how many tens? Do you know? It is the same as 40 tens. Okay? Now think about that. 400 is the same as 40 tens. So 40 tens minus how many tens is here? It's 110 minus 110 is equal to what? Okay, it's basically like a 40 minus 1 problem. Okay, 40 minus 1 is what? 39 tens. Okay, and do you have any idea what 39 tens is the same as? Because guess what? The answer is not 39 tens, right? Because we're working with a big old number and we're working with the hundreds. The answer is 39 tens. 39 tens is the same as 390. So I want you to notice something here. Your hundreds and your tens place changed, right? Your 400 went to 300. Your no tens, your 0 tens turned into 9 tens. Okay, so just remember, when you have a problem like this where it's 400 minus 10, it could be 300 minus 10. It could be 500 minus 10. Remember, this is the main rule you need to remember. Your hundreds and tens will change, okay? And you can do this in your head, but what helps to remember this, 400 is the same as 40 tens. Okay, so 40 minus 1 is 39 tens, which is the same as 390. Or 500 minus 500 is the same as 50 tens. 50 tens minus 1 10 is, 50 tens minus 1 10 is 49 tens, which is the same as 490. I know it's kind of a mouthful, but it's really, really very simple. If you just remember these rules, you'll get it. It's not hard. So this is kind of like mental math. The same thing with this one that we did. The only good thing about this one is only one place value changes. But that's really it for this lesson. This was introducing you guys to subtracting 10 and 100. It's really easy. If you need to rewatch this video again, please do. If you have any questions, send me a message on Class Dojo. And that's really it for today. Again, if you have any questions, send me a message. Make sure you do your quick check and your Pearson workbook pages. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day.